Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods and Beards. Today is a super awesome one because we have got Dave and Jim from NuCalm. Cool part is we have to thank you guys because you are one of the first group of guys that took a chance on us, and it has meant the world.
Take a chance on me.
Yeah.
Shut up. See, me and him.
Yeah, dude, every time we talk, this guy thinks of a song, and it's just like, Tyson, stop.
He's like, you have a song.
We're gonna have
for every word.
some copyright issues or something as he's singing. But yeah, and we're gonna get to you guys and have you introduce yourselves in a second. But the trajectory that we're on, I mean, we started on his mom and dad's couch with
literally
just like little tiny microphones. Moved to,
Every time we move, you would hear the couch leather.
The first,
I'm not guys, I promise.
and it's like our intro song was just like he picked it and we didn't check it, and it was like this super weird girly pop song, but now it's on there forever. And then we went to like the basement podcast streaming, and then we got to some studio stuff, and now we're here working with Aaron and Illuminex and everybody. And just since we started working with you guys, let alone the app, like we're going to get to the app and it's a daily thing in my house. And I know it's for Tyson, but that trip alone going to LA and you guys coming in clutch as fast as that. I mean, that was a matter of days that we had to figure things out, and you guys helped us get out there. And since then it has been like, we're holding on for dear life with how quick everything is going. So
Good to hear.
Massive thank you guys to you.
NuCalm rocket fuel.
Yeah. I like that. We need to make, but and on top of that, we've got.
And you helped us get in front of Josh and Zach, and now Zach is going to fly out for Logan's run in October, and it's because of that. I mean, literally, NuCalm has been a part of it since.
Yeah,
it's just been amazing. So thank you.
So today's episode primarily is brought to you guys by NuCalm. And if you guys haven't checked out the NuCalm app, go to the App Store, download it. It is a daily use for
just
me.
Go to our Instagram, and our LinkedIn.
Everything from my morning meditations to, I swear, I'm prepping for a marathon in June, believe it or not. And whenever I go running, I have to start with the Tony Robbins certainty.
Yeah.
And I must look so goofy.
While you're stretching or while
I'm running.
Okay.
Like I'll get the stretches, but then I get ready because that gets me pumped enough to keep going. Yeah. And I must look so goofy because I'm responding to Tony, but I've got noise canceling headphones on while I'm running. And we've thought about a whole funny reel we're going to do with that. But
mine is deep focus, and I'll listen to that. And sometimes it's the rain I'll listen to while I'm working out and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, really? I'm like,
that makes me have to pee a little bit.
No, but I like the calmness part of it. And I listen at night. I listen to certainly on my way to the gym. Then after that, I'm just ready.
Yeah.
And so then I listen to the calmness. And my wife's like, why are you listening to that? Because you have so many good things. And I'm just like, because it gets me in the mindset of like, just get to focus. And then I really like that.
Yeah.
We did listen to The Sleep while we were on the cruise, which by the way was a saver for us. But we woke up and my daughter's like, ooh, who's cooking bacon?
Sizzling. Because of the rain. Yeah. But so before we get into kind of all the fun information around NuCalm and how you guys started, if you guys don't mind introducing yourselves. So obviously we got David and Jim. You guys are brothers.
Twins,
not conjoined twins.
True.
We thought you were. I did
the
that.
camera down.
Yeah, you're like conjoined at the ankle, just one. But no, I fell for that pretty hard. So, but yeah. So thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having us. So my name is Jim Poole, and my twin brother here. We shared a baby apartment for 9 months.
Baby apartment, I like that.
So we're 4 minutes
Rent free
apart. It was rent free. But
my kids for 19 years.
So being a twin is cool. People were fascinated, before fertility drugs, there weren't a lot of us, but everyone asks you, hey, what's it like being a twin? What's it like not being a twin, man? I don't know what it's like not being one. So, yeah, we've been on this journey together for almost 16 years. So, they say don't do business with family. It depends on who your family is, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no business person that I trust more than David. So that allows us the flexibility to do all the things we do. You guys are both busy with a lot of multi things that you're doing. And if you know you can trust somebody, it just makes things easier. So it's been a fascinating journey for us. I mean, we're 56 years old, so we had 40 years before we did this NuCalm journey. But the last 16 years have been just amazing.
Oh, wow.
I think one of the things that's cool too in a partnership, a rich partnership, is the trust factor, because you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to fail. You're going to blow up spectacularly, but you always come back and it's not the blame game. It's not the judgment game. It's okay, let's get them next time, and you move on. And that kind of support lets you push the boundaries, and kind of flex a little bit more than you might be if my whole team thinks I'm a loser, what's going to happen? And that wouldn't happen anyway. Nobody thinks I'm a loser.
But if just his brother thinks he's a loser, it's fine. It's a secret.
Yeah. That's funny that because for a long time I worked with my brother, and it was his company. He owned it, and I was just right hand man. And I would always jokingly tell people, I'm like, it's a really weird dynamic when your boss can punch you, but you can throw hands back a little bit too. So that's really cool. I mean, my two youngest sisters are twins, and it's funny thing is I was just talking to my other sister on the way up here, and it was her birthday yesterday, and she's like, it's weird. I got a text within a minute of each other, and they weren't talking to each other at the time. It was just like a random time of the day, and they both texted her at the same time. And it's funny, just little different telepathy things they've had throughout the years. And
there's definitely a telepathy.
Yeah.
There's definitely a integrative level of intelligence. Doesn't matter where we're at on the earth. What's interesting is when you're a twin and you're young and you're popular with the girls and the boys want to kill you, right? Because you're popular with the girls. And
tell me a little bit more. How does that feel?
You want to be your own person.
Yeah.
You want to be your own person.
Hypothetically.
So I've got 3 girls. David's got 2 boys. They're really my sons, but Dave's got 2 boys, and they love birthdays. But Dave and I don't really celebrate birthdays. Why don't we celebrate birthdays? Because we got the same present every year. It's just a matter of who opened up what first.
Yeah.
So there was no independence.
Sure.
There's never any autonomy. So as a kid growing up, you're trying to differentiate yourself all the time, but you're always grouped. We're the Pooleys, we're the twins, whatever. So then we separated, and we both lived in Boston for a long time, and then I left Boston. And then weird stuff started happening. We bought the same watches. We bought the same wallets. He'd come and visit, and he'd leave with my wallet. He'd be like, dude, pull over, check your wallet. This is my wallet. No, it's not. Look, it's my ID. So
You're like, it's got my face on it. Like, no.
All these naturally
the same
innate.
girl. Weird, huh?
True.
No, we didn't.
I was like, I'm like, oh, okay, you guys keep getting me. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm so gullible today.
They're also conjoined twins.
Sure. But
Yeah, I've heard twins marrying twins.
oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Which means that their children
are technically siblings.
Yes,
Biologically,
which is-
right?
Oh, that's weird.
It's weird.
That is weird. I never thought.
But
about
anyway,
that
it's been
one.
amazing.
That's cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of inherent weird underlying things with twins.
Yeah. So for the first time, they're the babies of our family. They're 27 now, but a year and a half ago, one of them moved to Arizona, and the other one lives here in Utah. And it was the first time they've ever been like apart. And it was kind of a hard dynamic to watch as they learned to like be apart. But then every time you turn around, they're FaceTiming each other. So it's just this cool kind of like twin connection that, I mean, I've got bonds with my siblings, but it's very different when I was just noticing them and how they operate. So.
And one more fascinating element about this is that who you select to marry has to understand that they may never be the most important person in your life.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
For 56 years,
Interesting.
you share the same DNA.
Well, that's how our wives are figuring out us. Is that they're not. I'm sure.
I was like, speak for yourself. Yeah, like, my wife's pretty cute.
So who you select to be your spouse, it's important.
That's cool.
And they have to understand, hey, sharing is caring, because maybe I can't. You know how sometimes when you get in relationships, there's a possessiveness and there's a strange dynamic, and the wife wants to separate the husband from the friend, or the husband wants to separate the wife from. You can't do that with twins. So that's been interesting. And so Dave's been with his wife for 36 years. I've been with mine for 32.
Oh, that's way cool.
We've selected right.
Yeah,
And they're close friends too.
that's amazing.
That's really cool.
But sorry.
No, you go.
So, do you mind if we just dive in?
Let's go.
So, I was telling Logan I want to do 2 things with you guys for sure. Dive into the science of NuCalm, and then also talk to you about mental health and why it's important to you. Like what made it, like, I know there's a financial business aspect of it, but you always have to find something that you really enjoy and then make that a business type of thing. So what made you want to start NuCalm? Why is mental health just so important to you? Like, what evolved? What was the evolution of NuCalm?
You ready for a cool little Genesis story?
Yeah. Let's
do it.
We were raised by 2 psychotherapists.
Oh.
So 2 psychotherapists can't cohabitate, so our parents divorced when we were 2. But we grew up socially conditioned to take care of the disenfranchised, the people who often have the the slowest and lowest voice, but the biggest need, and to take care of people. We went divergent paths. I followed in the steps in psychology and did some mental health work and worked in state mental health institutions of Massachusetts, and then was duly humbled, coming to the conclusion that I really can't help anybody. Maybe I can facilitate, but I can't turn somebody around. Hey, you're sick, let me help you. It doesn't work that way. So I went the path of business. Dave went the path of, he's a writer, technical writing, IT, Cambridge, Boston, Massachusetts. And then when this opportunity came, there was no commercial piece. We'd been running companies for Wall Street and doing a lot of mergers and acquisitions and big business stuff for a long time. What inspired us was this Southern drawl neuroscientist, quantum physicist, who simply said this: I invented a product that can quickly and safely slow down your mind, get rid of your stress, and improve your sleep without drugs or side effects. I never heard that before. No one ever said anything like that before. So it was that concept, and then the science. So Dave and I are bright. We're intellectually capable. Our parents are really bright. They're both Mensa. We're probably smarter than our parents, so there's an intellectual curiosity. You will never get bored learning about the human brain. We don't know enough about it.
No.
So you're always learning. So you take the science, the curiosity, the opportunity. But what really helped us solidify the purpose and the reason we do this is when you can liberate a human being from the grips of stress that has challenged them to go into deep places and dark places and do things that aren't good, and you can literally say, here, put this headphone on, put this eye mask on, voila, and they get up and they're like, what'd you do to me? That gift, that reward is that's all the monetary value we ever needed, and it's all the time. We help people all over the world with cancer, with neurodegenerative diseases, trauma, complex trauma, addiction, coming out of the theater of war, assault. It doesn't matter. So you just put this on and you see a transformation. Like, we did this. That's why we do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know running a business and this and all the stress of the kids and all that kind of stuff. And dude, it's changed me. Like, just as recently as, been affiliated with you guys, like 20 minutes, sometimes I just get a little ticked. It just seems like it just is over just like that, but I'm able to focus again. And I know we talked about this, but like, I'll do an hour-long focus session, listening to it while working. I get so much more accomplished now than I used to. And so you got to tell me about like the science. Obviously you can't give any like specifics, but just maybe like, how does it work in your brain? Like, why does these
we can give
tones,
we can give all the specifics away. You want to know why?
The tones, you own it?
It's intellectual property, patented. So it's all public domain. Good luck trying to figure it out. It's very complex applied neuropsychobiology.
That's what I mean. To me, it's shocking that certain frequencies, certain tones, and all that really vibrations or whatever you call them, they really just affect me personally in such a way where I'm just like, I should be yelling right now at someone and driving in front of me who's going 20 miles below the speed limit, but I'm chill. Like, it's cool.
I've recently started converting Tyson to the science of frequency and vibration, because I'm very much so a law of attraction guy, and I've started getting, and as my battles through bipolar and stuff like that, as I've found the right psychiatrist that really has helped me realize that there's a lot of healing outside of just medication, and the routes that she's taken me down and the paths of my life and all that stuff. And I'm trying to explain to Tyson the other day, I'm like, look,
this is just
this is not a coincidence. Let me tell you how my thoughts and my meditation and my things like that have brought some of these things to pass. And I'm like, and he's like, well, I feel like, I'm like, yeah, I was like, and then frequencies and how NuCalm all falls. So I don't find it very coincidental.
And then we have a life coach that we both use at the and he told me made it, like you have it for dummies, like books for dummies. I'm like, he made it for dummies, like frequencies for dummies. And he explained it to me. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not voodoo at all. So like, I don't understand it, but I understand it better to the point I'm like, okay, I'm accepting it now. Yeah.
It's so not voodoo. It's fundamental math and physics.
Yeah.
That's how I was explaining to him. I'm like, it's literally like, I was like, the fact that this is coming out of my mouth, having a construction background, I was like, the quantum mechanics of it all. And I'm like, did I just say quantum? It just like that clicked with me once started kind of explaining things to me in my realm of understanding. And then kind of putting rubber to the road and then seeing things kind of happen. And then as I like healed parts of my mind, my thought process, my mentality and things like that, I don't find it very coincidental that you guys come across and we start working with you guys, and it's become a daily part of my process is I would never be the breathwork guy. I never would have thought I was never going to be the sauna and the cold plunge guy. I was never going to be the meditating guy. And it's like, now I can't get through my day without one or two of those practices because my brain just won't work the right way unless it's like I give it what it wants. You can tell a difference.
Yeah.
So what led you guys to want to, besides, that because of the kind of the Genesis story, what from there was like, hey, we got to do something with this. We got to like launch an app. We got to help more people. Like, where did that come from?
We started in surgical procedures. So you want to talk about voodoo?
Yeah.
Go to a hospital, witness a procedure, right? Cold operatory.
Well, we both have our wives. If we're talking like C-sections.
So yeah,
witness some of that.
So you're in a cold room and you're being operated on. It's gory, it's barbaric, it's bloody.
Oh yeah.
Bad.
And the people aren't on any medication. They're listening to our physics with a headphone and an eye mask. That's how this started.
Wait, the people being operated on?
Yeah. We've done 2,600,000 surgical procedures replacing general anesthesia. Yeah, that's what we do. So there ain't no voodoo here. This is pure physics. So here's what we do. When you put on NuCalm, it's not magic. It's not saying, hey, Tyson, where do we want to take you? No.
What was that?
Hey, Tyson, where do you want to take you?
Sorry, he does that every time.
It is a software.
Yeah.
It's very complicated. It took a quantum physicist, neuroscientist, 19 years to figure out the method to trick the human brain. So there's a whole plethora of information, mathematics and algorithms, and pitch and frequency and all this stuff in software. Then we put music on top of it to create a nice experience for you. It wouldn't really matter because you can't hear what we're doing anyway. You put the headphone on, the ears are carrying a signal to your brain. Your brain interprets that signal and then is synchronized to the pattern. Like
so the music has nothing to do with it? It's just the tones.
It's a carrier wave.
Shut up.
Correct.
I didn't know that.
Otherwise, it would just be white noise, which would be distracting.
So that's why you can add more music to different musics and all that, but it does the same thing because...
Yes.
Correct.
Correct
this
me
is really cool to me. Sorry.
Correct me if I'm wrong then. So it's almost kind of like you get a little bit more of like an emotional response to some of the music and the words that you're hearing, but it's also like
subjective.
On the back end, it's doing all the mechanics.
Yep.
Correct. So the best example is you guys are working out, you're training for a marathon, you're training for a half marathon. You're going to rely on inspiration. You're going to rely on music. Now, fortunately, you're relying on physics with Ignite and stuff like that. However, if you go to the gym and say your jam is AC/DC,
which it is,
you go to the gym
sometimes.
And you put on Shoot the Thrill, and the first you're going, and then the next song comes on, and then the third song comes on, and it's not having that emotional impact that it did because your brain has a reticular activating system, and this reticular activating system is the most profound expert in pattern recognition and finding shortcuts. Your brain is always looking for patterns and then finding shortcuts.
This is true.
So the third song, your brain says, hey, Tyson, the beat sounds the same in every song and Brian Johnson's voice sounds the same. I'm getting bored. Music cannot change your state. If you're in a high stress state and you need to get calm, music can't do that. It doesn't have the sophistication. The brain's too smart. You can't manipulate the brain with music. You can elevate and depress your mood, but even then, you fatigue of it. Okay?
I understand. That's why you get sick of songs.
Yeah, so this isn't music. We're carrying a signal to your brain. Frequency following response, made famous by Sigmund Freud in a pocket watch, is another way to present your brain with a signal. The challenge is about 35. Don't look at it.
Yeah.
I'm like in a trance right now.
35% of the human population can avoid this because their amygdala, their hypervigilance, their fear center is too strong. Okay? But through your ears, it's like a Trojan horse. When you present your brain with a signal and you have headphones on, there is no escape route. We know exactly where you're going, when you're going there, because it's all part of the matrix. How cool is that?
I'm like, this is really cool.
I don't think you guys realize
the whole time I thought it was just music that we were listening to that helped. It has nothing to do with it. That's really cool. But I'm still stunned. Like, how can they not feel pain in surgeries? That is just
awesome.
Nuts.
Okay, so when you do your rescue, okay, you're having a tough day, You got 6 kids, you got work, you got podcasts, you got your boyfriend, you got a lot going on. Okay, a lot of stress.
If I'm emotional, it makes him worse. Yeah,
It does.
It really does. That's a joke, but it really does. It affects me.
So, as it should, that's love. Okay, so
Don't touch
you put
me.
the headphones on. I mask. In the first few minutes, okay, nothing's really happening. I'm still listening. I'm still going through what I need to do. And then all of a sudden you start sinking in your bed, and all of a sudden your brain starts going and wandering, and then you're in this lucid dream state.
That's true.
That state is called theta. It's just above deep sleep. And in that state, your mind is available. It's not really in a lucid, state. Mm-hmm. Your mind's available, but your body's functions, the system of your body, your breath is reduced to
I don't know if they can hear that.
Your breath is reduced to 1 breath every 10 seconds. Your body is getting the most oxygen restoration possible, okay? In this state, your body is incapable of activating the amygdala, HPA axis, cortisol, adrenal cortex response of your body. So when you're in this state, it's like hypnosis or acupuncture. When you're in this state, so here's what we did, Tyson and Logan, because this is fascinating to us. David and I didn't invent NuCalm. Mm-hmm. We have no association or love affair with the science. We have a love affair with how does this do this?
Yeah.
So we did hundreds of before and after interviews with people going to surgery. And before surgery, their stress and their fear was so palpable. Their neck is red, they're talking in riddles, their lips, their eyes are darting. And you're like, this person's a mess.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they look at you and they say, I knew you were operating on me. I couldn't find a place to care. That's theta brainwave function. So we take everybody there in rescue and we allow the body the opportunity to heal on a cellular level.
Now, were they major surgery? Like, I'm sorry, but like I had a knee replacement.
Yeah, it'd be a major surgery like that.
And they chisel, they hammer, they pull, they yank.
Yes.
That's why you have all these bruises all around your thighs.
You can have local. They can still do a local anesthetic. You're not going to have any benzodiazepine, central nervous system suppressant. You're literally lucid. You done
That's
yet?
just nuts to me because I just remember seeing my wife just shake.
Interesting.
Because she had an epidural or whatever, not an epidural. Yeah, epidural, that's half the body, but she's still awake and her body's just going crazy because of just, like the trauma that it's going through. So that's just amazing that it can do that.
Well,
so I believe it. Don't get me wrong. It's just, it's amazing.
I love that you're explaining
we're a
that.
medical device.
Yeah.
We started in medicine in November 2009. We have thousands of doctors today doing surgeries today all over the world. And they love it because they're not compromising the central nervous system of their patient.
Well, and I love that you're talking about it this way because, in my whole 8-year journey so far since being diagnosed with bipolar and just the different, I'm sure you guys can imagine being with your guys' background, all the horror stories that can come with that kind of a diagnosis. One of the things that years later, after things were still going good, but then I talk into the psych and the doctors and the therapists and be like, I'm still having struggles with this, and then it was kind of figured out that I would get something called amygdala hijack, where basically my fight or flight would get stuck in a roundabout. And it was just, my amygdala was just pumping all the time. And so I would steamroll a conversation and an argument would be almost like stimulating to me and I couldn't let it go. And then obviously you throw in like the manic highs and then it's funny because I don't feel those highs coming about as I've focused more on like the brain chemistry and how, and it's almost like this binary, like you said, this like little binary code that's going in my ears and speaking to my brain that I don't have any awareness that it's happening because I'm listening to the music, I'm listening to the words, but it's like I don't have these moments of like extreme high emotional states.
And you will never again. If you stick to a simple recipe of rescue every day and deep sleep at night, we will down-regulate the power and authority that your amygdala has taken. That hijack will never happen again.
Because unfortunately, that little punk inside my head has caused a lot of problems over the years.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Dr. Holloway, the brilliant quantum physicist, incredibly gifted man, used to call David Poole amygdaloid. He's like, your amygdala is jacked, bro.
That was a compliment.
You're like, that sounds like a cool name. That's like what superhero is that?
You want to activate and trigger the reptile brain? Yeah. You'd be like, oh. All right, let's dial it back a minute and let's do a little neurophysiology, evolutionary psychobiology 101. Not too deep for the audience, but we're going to take 3 minutes on the physiology of the brain and 3 minutes on the vibration, resonance, and frequency of the brain. And then we'll see how it correlates, and then we can see that NuCalm isn't magic. You are magic. Our body is magic. NuCalm's just a facilitator to say, hey, we know how to do this if we can quiet our mind.
Well, and before you get into that, I'm glad that you said that, because I've said this to Tyson before. One of the ways that my psych told me was that she's like, look, the average, what's the average brain percentage most humans are using is like 3 to 5%, right?
Maybe, yeah.
On average. When she was explaining manic episodes to me and the hallucinations and different things that I was experiencing, she's like, you were using upwards of anywhere from 10, 15, 20% at the time. She's like, your brain is a supercomputer that is greatly underpowered.
Yes.
So I love that you're saying that like the magic does exist within you and that it is like this supercomputer we've all been blessed with that is just like insanely underpowered and is capable of helping itself in ways that you can't even imagine. Yes. So I just kind of wanted to preface that because I love that you said that.
Let's start with the reptile brain, amygdala, and primordial midbrain. Okay. So humans and the circuitry of the human brain derived from the circuitry of any type of life form before humans were walking. The amygdala, almond-shaped piece in the midbrain, governs the autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system, remembering back to 10th grade biology, is basically responsible for about 95% of our everyday function. Involuntary bodily functions like your heart rate, your respiration, and your digestion. But psychologically, it's responsible for fear, stress, anxiety, worry, anticipatory anxiety. How ridiculous is that? Why do humans have to suffer through anticipating that I'm going to get anxious about something that hasn't happened yet?
So true, though.
Tyson?
Agitation, fear, impatience, irritability. Also, fight, flight, or freeze. So think about that aspect. So this amygdala in our midbrain is responsible for all of these things. It's a lot of work to do. The central nervous system, which is our brain and our spinal cord, is self-preservation and survival. Nothing really matters, Tyson, if you're not alive. We can talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and achieving consciousness, but if you're not alive, it really doesn't matter. So it has one primary function, self-preservation and survival. At its disposal, it has your 5 senses, your intuition, and the amygdala. So everywhere we go, every time we're doing something, you just went and saw a hockey game for the first time.
Yeah.
You were exhausted that night, not because the hockey was exhausting and you weren't on the ice. You were exhausted because you'd never been before. So your central nervous system says, is this safe? Is this familiar? Is this secure? I don't really recognize anything and I can't anchor to anything. So I'm constantly going to be vigilant and I'm going to use a lot of resources. When your central nervous system deems physically I may be in mortal danger or I'm thinking about a historical event or triggered by some kind of anxiety, it calls for the amygdala. It says, hey, Robin, are you over there sleeping? Okay, wake up. I think we're in danger. Well, the amygdala doesn't have consciousness. The amygdala knows how to survive. And it has a pathway. The amygdala wakes up and says, hey, we're in trouble. Mobilize, alert, take all of our energy from our extremities, bring it to our visceral organs, increase my heart rate, decrease my oxygen, decrease oxygen here. Activate the HPA axis, bring cortisol, the stress hormone, and bring all these catecholamines and adrenaline. We are in trouble. Now, this happens whether we are truly in trouble or our brain thinks of something that creates trouble.
Yeah.
So as sophisticated as we are, our central nervous system doesn't have a filter to say, hey, that's just a thought or this is real. So that's that part of the brain. The amygdala and the structure and the neuronal circuitry, the specificity and the expertise of that part of our brain, they say is 40 million years of growth and shifting and learning, and growth and shifting and learning and relearning. So the currency of the human brain is not time, money, or attention span. The currency of the human brain is oxygen-rich red blood. So here's how this works. When the amygdala is activated, it sucks the oxygen-rich red blood, my resources, from my forehead and it activates this non-voluntary piece. And if oxygen is sucked from here, I am no longer a rational thinking human being. I'm no longer able to take decisions. I am triggered. If I'm violent, I'm violent. If I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm fearful, I'm fearful. It exacerbates whatever character I have, and it puts me in a state where I am not functioning as a human being. I am in survival mode. There is no path for me here because there's no circuitry here for me to pull from.
Wow.
That is the physiology of every day's effort. So think about that and think about meditation. 3,500 years ago in Asia, they figured out, wait a second, I'm not really in control of my thoughts. This amygdala thing is. I'm going to meditate. They maybe didn't know that the physiological benefit of meditation is not necessarily sitting Indian style and cleansing your brain. The benefit is being able to downregulate your breath to 1 breath every 10 seconds and fully push oxygen-rich red blood here. You'll never see monks in a monastery beating the crap out of each other because there's oxygen here. So yoga, tai chi, meditation, and breath work do the job of redistributing oxygen-rich red blood from the amygdala, the almond, to your forehead. That's why when you are in that state of peace, you're not prone to anger. When things normally that would stress you out don't trigger you, you're responsive and not reactive. So that's category number 1, the physiology and the evolutionary neuropsychobiology of the human brain. The second aspect that's really important for us to understand is frequency. Everybody's brain oscillates in the same frequency range. We think we're unique. Couldn't be further from the truth. We're all made from the same parts. If you have a brain, you have an amygdala. If you have a brain, you have a prefrontal cortex. If you have a brain, it oscillates in a frequency range. Huh? No one told me that. The frequency range is 41 hertz, 5 categories. Delta, theta, and alpha are slow frequencies. Beta and gamma are faster frequencies. Delta, theta, and alpha from 0.5 hertz to 12 hertz, sleep. Beta, 13 to 15 hertz, I'm awake but not really that excited. 15 to 20 hertz, I'm focused. There's a learning zone frequency, 18.4 hertz. In that zone, there's no distractions in my brain. I'm able to concentrate, have clarity, comprehension. I'm able to encode new information, learn, and consolidate to memory. And we've all experienced that. With focus, you're like, wow. You lose sense of time, you're in the zone. You
really are.
Singular thought pattern. 20 to 25 hertz is stress, fear, anxiety, pings, distraction, agitation. 25 to 30, fast frequency, is a lot more of that. I'm really agitated right now. 30 to 38, my cognition in my forehead has now lost all access to oxygen, and I am in pure fight or flight or shock. Okay, so that's the fastest frequency in that category. And then you go into gamma, which is ignite for our product, 39 to 41 hertz. When you cascade out of this whole chaos of the highest stress level of a human brain function, you get to the sweet spot that's commensurate with meditating monks. What? And high intensity mistake-free focus. So when you put Ignite on, you'll notice your peripheral vision increases, your olfactory increases, your ability to articulate and think clearly with certainty and confidence improves, but your musculature improves. So every human on Earth oscillates in a frequency range of 41 hertz every day. The trick is not to stay in a stressed state. So it makes sense physiologically. Now it's logical. When I'm stressed and I'm distracted, I'm agitated, and my frequency's going too fast, which means my heart rate's going too fast and my breath is too shallow. So the irony is when you're agitated and someone says, hey, you're having a bad day,
Yeah.
we never stop and say, you're right, honey. Thank you for giving me that help.
Yeah.
No, we say, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm having a great day. Because our frequency is
fine.
too fast.
Yeah.
Our frequency is too fast. Our oxygen is too low. Our oxygen is too low. The amygdala steals the oxygen. The forehead doesn't get it. So if we can, as a neuroscience company, we don't care if you're ever going to learn to meditate, put on yoga pants, do tai chi or deep breath. We are going to modulate and slow down your brainwave frequency to 4 hertz where we know everybody heals. That's what we did. So we know when you guys do rescue, at minute 8, you're at 4 hertz. It's not up for debate. We have millions of people who've used this, and we have quantitative EEG to show exactly where you're at, when, how, and why. But when you're there, you'll notice, and you're on the bed, your body's really heavy, you lose sense of where you are, you lose sense of time, but your breath is 1 breath every 10 seconds. So when you get up, it's not a miracle that you feel good, that you feel grounded, that you feel mentally clear. We pushed oxygen to the forehead. That's what we do.
I'm like speechless. This is so fascinating to me.
So, is there a purpose of the face mask? Because I'll listen to a lot of this.
Yes.
While I'm continue working, things like that. So am I doing it wrong?
Yes.
Because
David, can you please go over there and beat him?
no, because I'm a busy dude, just like everyone else. I'm not justifying that anyone else is not busy, but I feel like I'm extremely busy, and so I'm trying to be less stressful. I'm trying to focus.
We're going to help you out right now.
At the same time, I got to get crap done, so I like to.
Yes. Okay.
It's the truth.
So everything we do is purposeful, and everything we do is meticulously designed down to a level that's like subatomic. I mean, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. We're a brain science company. Mm-hmm. The reason that we ask you to wear an eye mask is because it is physiologically impossible for you to get into a deep state of theta with your visual cortex activated. Mm. You get billions of data packets through your eyes.
Okay.
So if I lie down, even if I just close my eyes and don't have an eye mask on, light permeates my eyelids.
100%.
I can't get to 4 hertz. It's impossible. So if you're in that time crunch, don't even try it.
Okay.
Put focus on, because focus will take you to a state where you're not access to stress. You're in the zone. You're not taking care of your cellular health. You're not healing or recovering, but you're maximizing the time that you're not taking care of yourself. When you get to this place, and you will, and David and I are the same way. It took us like 7-8 months to figure out, wait a second, naps are for sissies. Naps are a failure.
I was going to bring up naps because I was that guy.
I will never nap. And the sometimes that I do, you wake up more grumpy than you did because you don't.
Well, you have power nap, though.
Power nap's different. You're never sleeping. Deep sleep is how people typically nap. You know, like when you take a nap and you fall into that deep sleep, you get up, you're groggy, you're angry, you're frustrated.
You don't know what year
the joke of I laid down for 10 minutes and I woke up tomorrow. Whoa, like I didn't.
Napping is not what we're doing.
Yeah.
But when you lay down for rescue or power nap, we're taking you to theta in a very defined, quick amount of time. In 2011 and 12, we were working with NASA scientists and Harvard Medical School statistical biophysicists, 2 of the best mathematicians in the world. And they called David and I and said, hey, did you know that 20 minutes of your product is equivalent to 2 hours of restorative sleep? Sure. And we said, no. And we said, we're not even sure what that means. Well, C.K. Pang is one of the world's preeminent experts on sleep. He said, in the sleep architecture and how we sleep, you go through a 100-minute cycle, you go through a 90-minute cycle. After puberty, we glide through this state of theta, the healing zone, too quickly. So what you're doing is you're taking my brain and you're holding me in the sweet spot of theta where I'm getting the optimal restorative sleep. Mm-hmm. So 2 hours of restorative sleep, not 2 hours of sleep, 2 hours of the best sleep possible you're getting in 20 minutes. So rescue is now a 20-minute version this year. Power nap are 20 minutes for people like you who are too busy.
So the goal is not necessarily to actually fall asleep.
It is never just to fall asleep.
I thought it was to fall asleep.
No, except for deep sleep. Deep sleep, we want you to sleep.
Sure. Yeah.
Here's why.
I love deep sleep.
It's 0.5 hertz deep sleep. You've got kids, okay? When your kids were young, and your kids still are young, 8 and 6, when they fall asleep on the couch and you go to pick them up, you're like...
It's just dead weight.
How do you weigh 197,000 pounds? Their brain is shut off. They're in a vegetative coma state of deep sleep, 0.5 hertz, the slowest frequency the brain will allow. And the body is getting to restore.
So that's the whole sleep like a baby.
That's sleep like a baby. Yeah. You're literally putting you to sleep. Theta is where the mind heals and your cells restore on a cellular level. So theta is just above deep sleep. When you're doing rescue and power nap, you'll notice sometimes you're like skipping off of sleep.
Yes.
You like skip off. You're like, I was going in. I snorted. So what we've learned...
The phone hits me in the head.
Yeah, through millions of data points in all walks of life, from monks to punks, pilots to passengers, stage 4 cancer to the healthiest people on earth. We're all sleep deprived. So when we have you set up with all these monitors, we can see everybody kind of skip off sleep and then they dip into sleep. Then they come back up. We want to hold you in theta because we know every minute you're there, you're healing. So rescue and power nap are not sleep. It's theta, like a lucid dream state.
That's what I was like, because like I've recently been working from home quite a bit. I took the jump from working full-time construction to doing this and content creation stuff full time, and
You're like, guys, I'm leaving the field. I'm doing content creation.
Joke, but like I now find myself at home, you know, like it's funny, like waving to my wife and kids, like goodbye. They're heading off to work and school, and I go, you know, get going on stuff or whatever. But there's been a few times where I'm like, you know, trying to do the power nap, and so I'll put the headphones on and the eye mask and go lay on the couch or whatever. And because like as a dad, I'm kind of like sensory deprivation of eyes and ears taken away. That's hard for me to wrap my brain around that while my babies and my wife are at home, because I'm like, that's where it's like, you know, on high alert. I got a Chihuahua that takes care of that for me too. But so when I'm by myself at home, I know they're safe. They're at school. It's easier for me to do that. And I was like, oh, am I supposed to be falling asleep and my brain's just too busy? So I'm glad you said that, because now it's like puts that anxiety at ease of like, hey, I'm not necessarily supposed to fall asleep, because that's what I was worried about. Was like, oh, am I supposed to sleep?
You should try the Flow State product too.
Oh, I use Flow State, yeah.
Good.
With eye mask and everything?
You can do it just with headphones too while you're doing productivity, because it'll dial you into right about the alpha zone, which is your creativity, meditative,
so what's
inspiration.
The difference between flow and focus?
7.83 hertz is flow state. What does that mean? Have you ever heard of the Schumann's resonance? The Earth's magnetic rotation. So the Earth has a rotation and a frequency. Have you heard of grounding?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Logan, take your socks and shoes off and walk on Earth for 30 minutes.
Jokingly, there's a guy in my neighborhood I would not mess with. Like he's the nicest guy in the world. Bigger beard than me. Dude is jacked. And in the middle of winter, he is in the park across the street from my house, barefoot, no shirt on, sitting there meditating.
Yeah, so he's grounding.
I'm like, and it's like, if that's such a wussy thing to do, I'm like, you go tell him.
I will tell him that you said that he's a success.
What I'm trying to say. Like, it's funny, the same thing we do with like mental health and like in this podcast and things like that. I'm like, the more we have gotten into this space and the more that like we've kind of found the voice of the vulnerability of it over the last 2 years, I'm realizing like the most masculine, toughest, manly, and successful people I know are all about like
they figured it out.
This. Yeah. It's about understanding that it's like, it's not about what society is telling you. It's not about what other men are telling you. It's about what your body is telling you. It's about like it's just funny. Like we have these conversations about frequencies, and I'm like, I specifically choose sometimes what music I want to listen to outside of NuCalm that have certain, you know, frequencies and vibrations, things like that. And so it's just funny that like how this it all just plays together, and I love this. And so kind of on that note, how do you respond to somebody that is maybe more of like where we were 4, 5, 6 years ago? Like, oh, whatever. This is all just voodoo. This is all hokey pokey.
We don't. We waste no mental calories on anybody who's a non-believer. However, I just want to make one comment. Being tough and an ass kicker is not mutually exclusive to being conscious. And so there are a lot of ass kickers who are not conscious. They are still stuck in the amygdala. But there are a lot of conscious individuals, period. The more we learn, the more we know that we didn't know. The Schumann resonance is the Earth's magnetic rotation. We've lost that because of cement, concrete, steel, living in cities, etc. Putting your feet on Earth for 30 minutes connects you to the Schumann resonance of the Earth's magnetic rotation, which is 7.83 hertz. And not by coincidence, that's the same resonance of the human body cavity. We're all related mathematically. So when you take your socks and shoes off and you walk on the Earth or you walk on the beach for 30 minutes, you're picking up the Earth's magnetic rotation, and you're helping down to a DNA level, you're helping your cell structure get into the balance of the frequency of the Earth and you, because we're related to the Earth.
Is that why everybody's so happy in Hawaii? Like
that's
when you're
a big
there?
reason.
Like, because we were there
for crystal meth.
Yeah. I mean, we were there for 10 days, and we were like, I was barefoot 90% of the time because we're out on the beach and stuff like that. And it's like you leave and you're just like, I want to go back to reality. I want to go back. And it's like, yeah, the kids are just like, everybody's happy. Like everybody's like enjoying it. I didn't know that. Like now I might go sit out there with that guy.
Vitamin D and grounding.
Yeah. 7.83 hertz.
Logan's just naked on the ground.
Not now, I'm working.
Not now, I'm working.
What are you doing, sir? This is content creation.
Yeah.
So
it's okay. We're sponsored by NuCalm. They said I could do
there's a collect phone call from jail. Hey, Jim, it didn't work.
David, Jim, can you guys bail me out?
So who's this? How'd you get my number?
You said I could do it in the park.
So the intersection between alpha and theta is 7.83 hertz, synonymous with being in a state of flow. So you're creative without being stressed. That's flow state.
I love
Focus is 18.4 hertz. It's a higher energy state. You'll notice when you have focus on.
Dude, I get a lot done.
There's a mood elevation and there's an intensity. And when you get off, you're like, wow, I feel really good. It's like an endorphin rush.
Dude, when I'm writing a blog, so I write 2 blogs a week for Copper Johns, and I'll just be writing. I'm like, I can do a couple more. And next thing I know, I've written like in an 8-hour span, I've done the whole entire month. I'm like, well, that was cool. And you learn. I just really like it.
David's a night owl. So at around 9 o'clock, he activates with Ignite. And then his keyboard's like, no.
It's like Bruce Almighty when he like clicks and he's
No, it's true. I learned so a lot of because it's a beard care company and a grooming company. There's a lot of people who have reached out and asked me about Ozempic. Like, hey, if I take Ozempic, I've heard that I'll lose hair. And I put on focus.
That's what happened to me and David.
No, so I put on focus, and I'm like, okay, let's do some research. And I did a lot of research, and because I was a professor in college, I have a lot of peer-reviewed journals, access to journals and stuff like that. I'm like, no, that's not what it's about. But I got to write. I studied and I was focused, and dude, it really does help. And I didn't know it was just freaking tones. I thought it was the music.
No.
I think this is really cool. I really enjoyed this.
We have the only patented music in the world. The bottom of every track, patented. Here's your patent number. No one else in the world has it. Yeah. Okay, so how do we address the closed-minded, non-conscious, opinionated, judgmental folks? We don't. Our job, starting out, was to educate neuroscientists, neurologists, cardiovascular surgeons, medical oncologists. We studied and lectured thousands and thousands of doctors around the world. We were a medical device. And even that's challenging because we're pioneering. When you're pioneering, nobody understands what you're doing anyway. If we got deep into the science, you guys would go cross-eyed. It's not our job anymore to share with people how smart we are or what we've solved. We don't care. So if I'm speaking to somebody who's like a military guy, I'm like, hey, you ever heard of NuCalm? He'll say, no. You never heard about it? No. Dude, this has been used by the Special Forces, Navy SEALs, FBI, Hostage Rescue Team, SWAT, for more than like 15 years. Professional athletes, you like the Golden State Warriors? They use it. You like the Kansas City Chiefs? They use it. That's how you
just
break.
lost all
I was going to say, don't tell me the Chiefs use it.
We helped the Eagles too years ago, and we're Cowboy fans.
Same difference.
That's how you kind of just disarm and intrigue without confusing, sounding like voodoo.
Or you just slapped them with credibility right in the face. Like, well.
So then they say, well, this sounds crazy. Well, have you ever heard of Harvard Medical School? Yeah. How about NASA? Yeah, that's where the research was done. Have you ever heard of the FDA? Do you think the FDA is going to create a Class 3 medical device if they don't look at it? Do you think the military would be using this for 15 years on the world's most powerful elite military operators, Navy SEALs, Special Forces, Air Force Special Operations Command, BORTAC, BORSTAR, if they don't evaluate it? You're not making sense. That's it. So you speak in terms where you meet them where they're at, and you say, hey, it doesn't matter to me what I think or how this will work for you. Check it out. It's a 7-day free trial. Put the headphones on. Dial where you want to go. That's it.
Interesting.
That's how we deal with it. We don't try to. Dave and I got blue in the face for thousands of people over 16 years, and we realized, what are we doing?
Trying to convince them.
When you're in a battle of wits with somebody, they're not listening. Their ears aren't available. When you're talking, they're thinking about the next thing they're going to say. So there's no point in you losing oxygen. When you're in an amplified discussion or getting like that, what did you guys learn already? There's no oxygen here. The amygdala's taking it because he's amplified. Hey, this guy doesn't know more than me. I'm going to tell him, you used to be construction, now you're writing content, now you're just sissy, right? So they're not thinking. So you don't even try. You just say, hey, suit yourself, man. If you like living in worry and being agitated and impatient all the time, if you like your kids, call your name 6 times in a row right in your face, you don't hear them. If you want to live like that, do it.
Whoa. Yeah, that hits close to home. I mean, that's like a running joke on social media that it's like, mom. I was like, what? Like, because moms are going a million miles a minute too. So that's a really interesting take. Like this is one of those things.
You can also, instead of trying to overwhelm them with the credibility, just say, hey, when you're ready to sleep better, be happier, have more joy, let me know, and you can try it.
Yeah.
and then put it back on them. The burden's on them that have said, hey, wait a minute, you're right. I would like those things. And it's not about the science anymore.
One of our dear friends had the luxury and a great lifestyle of living in the White House for 40 years. He was a speechwriter for 5 presidents.
Oh, wow.
And he was really bright. And I love the guy. He passed away a couple of years ago, but I loved him. And he said, Jim, I love listening to you. I learned so much. But, to be honest with you, half the stuff you tell me is mumbo jumbo. I don't understand it anyway. He said, when I use NuCalm, my wife thinks I'm sexier. My kids think I'm funnier. That's all
there
I
you
care
go, guys.
about.
That's all you need.
That's it.
Done.
And I was like, you son of a bitch.
you're like writing that down. You're like, it's a great marketing move. Yeah. But no, I love this because like this. I mean, it just speaks so much to like why I may not understand every little bit of all of the science behind everything that you guys are saying. Of like this is where the mumbo jumbo comes in for some people. Of like when you're in the right mindset, you're in the right like your body's tuned to the right frequency and all that stuff. It's like I can. It's going to sound really different to some people. Like I can just feel it.
Yeah.
Like it's like I can feel that connection of like. Obviously, like the love and the passion is there with you guys with this. But like having done it myself for the last few months since we've been working with you guys, and I tried every other freaking meditation app and stuff out there. But understanding that this isn't just a meditation app. Like you said, it's a medical device.
We're a 35-year-old neuroscience company. We've invested $48 million in science. This isn't an app.
That's what I'm saying.
We just chose an app because we wanted to meet humans where they're at. How do we get to millions of humans? App and a headphone. All right, we'll try it. That's what we did.
Yeah. So gosh, I feel like we could talk to you guys for hours.
Can I ask one more question? Because okay. We talked about this before, before we started recording, about how I listen to Ignite on my way to work out, and then I listen to Focus while I'm actually working out.
Yes.
Why does that work for me? Because the more we were talking about, you're like Ignite is like you're a higher level, you're higher, vibration, all that kind of stuff, and you're ready to just charge and attack. And where I'm just like, actually, I like it the other way.
So it's how like in working out, there's been like this new burgeoning industry of millions of dollars of a pre-workout.
Yeah.
That's all Ignite is. Your brain in the afternoon is going to sabotage you because it doesn't want to go through pain. It doesn't want to work out. So if you were going to go to the gym at 3, at 2 o'clock, your brain starts saying, hey, Tyson, you don't really have time. Mm-hmm. We got way too much going on. Logan's content creating way more than you.
I wish my brain talked like that.
This is in her brain from Chicago?
Yeah. It's a brain is from Chicago.
We're gonna
the Bears.
The Bears.
So when you put Ignite on, it obliterates what we call the itty-bitty shitty committee. You know that committee behind your ears? It's got behind your eyes.
Can't do it. Don't want to do it.
It's got all the things to say. It goes away.
Yeah.
And it amplifies you. So for me, I do the Peloton. If this was a shorts podcast, you'd be like, dude, you shouldn't be on the Peloton. You got chicken legs. I got chicken legs. I don't belong on the Peloton.
Have you seen Logan?
Well, we have a running joke that I look like if you stood a frog up and put pants on it, that's me. Like I can stand against the wall and my neck and the back of my ankles will touch. Yeah.
Nobody.
So basically, it's like I look like an uppercase letter P. You know? It's like I was just saying that if you put me up against the wall, my neck and the back of my ankles will touch all the way top to bottom. So I'm with you.
You put Ignite on. Before you know it, you already have your workout clothes on. It's not up for debate. You're amplifying.
Yeah.
Ignite is providing so much energy and elevation of your frequency and your body that if you listen to it too much, you start to become over-caffeinated, like agitated. So you've actually created a good recipe for your biorhythm. And this is the recipe that a lot of endurance athletes use. They'll use Ignite when they need that burst, but they use Focus to sustain and have the endurance to work out.
Look at you little athlete.
Yeah,
Not on purpose.
You've created, you've been an alchemist based on your biorhythm. So what you've built is actually a perfect architecture for working out. I amplify, I get into that state of absolute certainty, I'm gonna go get it, but then I put Focus on while I'm in there to keep me elevated, but not over amplified.
Yeah, because it's like I don't need to hear AC/DC, Metallica, Johnny Cash, dead serious. I like him. I don't need that. It's just like I really, really enjoy Focus, and then put the noise canceling headphones on, and then I'm just good to go. Like I really, really am. I'm in the zone.
Our goal, David and my goal, is to help as many human beings liberate themselves from the clutches of stress, because most people don't even know how their brain works. If you don't know how it works, how are you going to fix it? Yeah. And that circular loop of just frustration and shame and confusion and just, it's terrible. We have a solution. We have the only patented solution in the world. And it's safe and it's easy and it's reliable. So our goal is to get rid of stress in your brain every day that you rescue and give you restorative sleep. Because when we do that, we make you a better human being. You're less agitated, you're less, all that stuff. On the flip side, we do really cool things with Ignite. So I'm going to share with you and your audience a little secret.
100%.
Okay, you ready for this one? On January 20th of this year, we released a confidential product to an elite military operator team, and only they on Earth and the CEO and the chief business officer have access to it. It's called the Elite Operator Confidential.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want that.
So when you open it up, it has do's and don'ts. Don't listen to us more than 60 minutes a day. Your head will pop clean off. There are 3 tracks: Viking, Warrior, and Absolute Certainty. We are maximizing our physics of intensity to prepare them pre-mission, during mission. Extraction, conflict resolution, assassination, doesn't matter. That's what they're doing to put them in a state of absolute, perfected, fast-paced, transactional information flow in the dark, in the night, acclimatized, in the mountains, whatever their mission is.
So these Black Ops guys that don't exist
Correct.
are using that.
And only they have access.
When do we get it?
How
Yeah,
cool
I was
is
going to say
that?
them and your favorite podcast hosts.
You are running a marathon.
Yeah, hey. But
similarities
I
here.
feel like
So here we go. Logan, Snowy, the stud next to you. You're naked in the with Ignite on going like this.
it's okay, it's confidential. But
No, but you know what I was thinking? Like the whole time I was thinking is like, before I have a heart-to-heart discussion.
I was going to say you would have finished that sentence correctly.
Yeah, a heart-to-heart discussion with the wife, or with like you and I are about to have. We're not having a hard discussion. We're going to have a business discussion.
Yeah,
on
we just got to
Wednesday
start
or
mapping
something
stuff
like that.
out. Yeah.
Maybe it's smart that we're like, hey, let's listen to this for 20 minutes before we have a discussion.
Absolutely. Okay. Secret weapon. Have your wife use rescue before any discussion you want to have. Because guess what? She will be in a receptive state
And
of
so
calm. So you, absolutely. But it's the person you're working with that you want to be in that receptive state. So it changes the whole landscape of what's going to happen and the connective tissue. When I come into a meeting and I have expectation, I guarantee it changes my behavior because my expectation has not been shared. There's a boardroom of people who don't know my expectation, but when it starts not going my way, I start changing my behavior. I start panicking, or I start seeing. When you are in a state post-rescue, you have no expectation. You have no itty-bitty shitty committee.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you like your wife to be in this receptive state of saying, hey, honey, what do you want to talk about?
Interesting.
The key is to make sure that everybody's in that state of relaxation and receptivity.
Or you're getting whooped.
Or you're getting
Well, but that is just like sometimes you're not ready for it either.
No, absolutely. We use this tool
Yeah.
as a tool. David and I we weren't built for higher consciousness. It's been an ancillary benefit to using this for 16 years. We were twins, wrestling, martial arts, football, and hockey. If we can fight in the confines of rules and tear someone's head off, that's how we grew up. We're not built for high-level consciousness.
Yeah.
Wearing frequency medallions. Having all this physics on my body. The people who know us 20 years ago are like, what the hell happened to you guys? We learned about resonance, frequency, vibration. So before we turn this to a close, I would love for David, who's a high-octane, high performer, demands a lot, to share kind of his recipe of how he uses this tool to help him kind of maintain.
I was going to ask what your guys' favorite
high
go-tos
level.
are.
I use Rescue every single day. I've been using Rescue every single day for almost 15 years. If you saw my stats, I'm just under 3,000 uses, and it's all Rescue. In the evenings, I do use Ignite. I don't do caffeine, and family time is important, so I don't want to surrender that for work. But around 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, people are doing their independent things. I throw on the headphones. We've got an inventory of private stock Ignite tracks. And I
know. It's just like, what the crap?
You guys are holding all the good stuff.
we experiment. We're selfish.
If you're in the elaborate, man,
It's called, we don't have copyright for this. It's okay.
And then I use that and I work, and it's really remarkable. I can work from about 10 to 1, and like you said, I can just crank through things at an 8 hour day. Like, hey, I'll just do it tonight, and I will do it tonight. So that's been really valuable. I don't use the deep sleep because by the time I've fatigued my adrenals and I've worked till 1, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I hit the pillow and I never wake up in the night. You could, run the vacuum on my bed, and I'm like, you did what?
Sure.
So I sleep really well. Rescue
Or
is
you
my
can
jam.
ask his wife to leave the bed, come to my spare bedroom. And he's like,
Yep, she's been cheating on me for 35 years.
No idea.
Unbeknownst to me. So it's a real simple recipe for me is the stress management. And for me, I love the afternoon sessions. If you've got the flexibility in your schedule,
Oh yeah, got plenty of it.
that afternoon session is remarkable because it's an energy boost, but it also eliminates the stress because I get up at 7:30, start working 8:30, and then by noon I feel like, oh my God, I haven't looked up the list I made last night that was really important. I've made a bunch of promises already today that I'm not going to get done. I don't have time, and it's the last thing you think is it's time to take a nap. It's a perfect time to take a nap because when I get done with NuCalm, I lay there, it's okay, what do I absolutely need to get done? I'm going to get that done. It's going to be great what I do get done, and I'm going to explain why I didn't get the other things done, or I'm going to work tonight and get that done. So it's been a real interesting productivity tool for me. The focus stuff, I've really just started. So I have to experiment with everything when we're testing internally, of course. And Jim swears by it, and I've been using it recently, especially around the Jim Quick stuff. And it is badass. It's just like you said, you lose track of time. You produce, especially the projects you don't really want to do. They may have a little bit of friction getting started. You're like,
spreadsheets, forecasts.
Well, yeah, for me, it's the mundane editing and waiting for uploads, and then and just updating lists and keeping my brain on track. Because like the creativity, I can turn that on real quick and run with it. But it's like my brain's processing faster than this computer. So it's like, I like that thought process.
For me, my recipe is a little bit more, I use it a little bit more. So get up in the morning, I go for a walk with my wife, about 2.5 miles. Then I do either like a vibration plate, the lymphatic drainage and whatever, do a bunch of stuff for physical. Then I'll go into my office and I will put on Ignite Triumphant. Ignite Triumphant is not as aggressive. I don't feel like I need to go work out, but it amplifies me in lieu of caffeine. I love coffee. And it allows me to go through, we're an international company, so we're always, hey, there's stuff in Vietnam, and there's stuff in China, whatever. So I get to do that in a good state. Then I'll continue that work. I might do Ignite one more time. Then as I start to really get into things, project, writing, whatever, I'll focus. Focus on the headphones or focus on a speaker. Focus is going on in my office almost all day. Around 2 to 4 or 5, and recently we've had a lot of calls. We're doing a lot of international stuff, and internationally your schedule's always doing this and that and the other thing. So on a normal day for Dave and I, we might have 10 to 13 to 14 calls, Zooms, or presentations. So my calendar's always filled, but I always sneak 30 minutes, always. And so literally I've timed it where I'm like, okay, I'll run upstairs, I'll take my clothes off, I'll get in my bed, 20-minute power nap or 20-minute rescue. It comes off, I get up, I fix my hair, put my suit back on, I'm on Zoom, perfect. But that switch allows me to take anything that I developed from 5 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon, flushes it all away. Done. Reset, reboot, you have the second part of your day, and it's going to be even better than you thought the first part was. I use it as an efficiency and productivity tool. I don't really use it for cellular reboot and health. That's a benefit that I get, even though it's not what I'm seeking.
Gosh.
Then I'll do Ignite for working out, because by the afternoon, my brain is telling me, you have way too much to do. You can't afford 30 minutes, and then you got to shower, and then you got to do this. So I'll just put Ignite on. It's like, shut up. Get going. Ignite, do my workout. After that, nothing's really happening until bedtime. And I am in love with Deepest Sleep Plus. I'm in love with Deepest Sleep. Deepest Sleep Plus is the new track on the top of the app. The 20-minute rescue just unwinds you. But the deepest sleep is changing my habitual get up in the night and go pee routine. At 56 years old, I get up one,
so now
2
you're
or
just
3
peeing
times.
in your sleep on the bed,
I wear a diaper.
Yeah.
So it's worked out really well. It's wet. It sounds weird.
You're like, but I slept
Buy 'em on a
great.
website.
Yeah.
But this is crazy to me. There are probably 10 to 15% of the nights where I didn't get up once to pee.
Wow.
My dreams are incredible. The depth of my sleep.
I got to pee now.
Do you? So deepest sleep. What we did was, this is cool. You guys ready for a little cool science? Many people don't feel that they have the capability of sacrificing 1/48th of the day or 1/72nd of the day to take care of themselves. They don't. I don't have 20 minutes for him to rescue. I don't. Mm-hmm. So we said, hey, we're not going to come to Tyson's house and rub his back and put him on rescue. But what we can do is we can strengthen deep sleep because people don't know what they don't know. So the first 50 minutes of deep sleep is physics coming to, and we're putting you to sleep. It's not up for debate. We're not asking for your permission. We're putting you to sleep. The problem is your liver wakes up between 2 and 3 in the morning. Everybody's liver does. And it creates adrenaline to enzymatically break down the toxins that you accumulated during the day. So the challenge for most humans is not just the onset of sleep. When they get up to use the bathroom in the night, their amygdala wakes up. And that little son of a bitch starts getting them to worry. Then cortisol starts to flood.
That does happen.
Then cortisol. Then you start lying in bed and you're like,
now you're not resting.
You're not going back to sleep.
Yeah.
So we said, here's what we're going to do. We know the biorhythm of the human being. You get up at 10, you're waking up at 2. You go to bed at 11, you're waking up at 3. So at hour 4 of deep sleep, we added the 50-minute physics back. So when we started using that, I was like, I have no idea what's going on here, but I am sleeping like an angel.
It's always the bills. When I wake up and go to the bathroom and then I come back and I can't fall asleep again, it's always the bills.
And the
Or
amygdala,
the kids.
and the amygdala knows this. The amygdala's like, yo, he's going to get up to piss in about 5 minutes. You ready to talk, Bills?
Yeah.
No, it's true. It drives me fucking bonkers.
Yeah. So Deepest Sleep Plus is designed to tell your amygdala to shut up.
That's like I could write a book titled "Telling My Amygdala to Shut Up" because that's improved my life so much.
We tell people NuCalm puts the amygdala at the kids' table, where it's always belonged.
That's heavy, yeah, because it's very irrational thinking.
Oh yeah,
like you said,
it's at the head of the table. It's not just at the adult table; it's at the head of the table.
Well, it goes back to the amygdala has its purpose. When you are in situations where it's fight or flight, and you need to centralize the energy and the flow and all that stuff to the guy that needs to quickly respond in maybe a life-saving manner. Great. But it doesn't need to be that when you're sitting on the couch with, spending time with your family and then you get a ding of oh crap, that bill's due tomorrow. And the amygdala's like, yeah, it is. And then it's takeoff time. So I love this. I feel like we could sit and talk to you guys for hours.
Your amygdala is amazingly sophisticated. It knows how to trigger. Hey, Tyson's having a good day today. Let's trigger him with a bill.
Or the
Chicago accent for me.
The meme,
Hey Tyson, how you doing there? You want a bill?
The meme where it's like me, I'm having a good day, and then it's my anxiety, but aren't you worried? And it says me about what? And the anxiety says exactly. So man, you guys are awesome. I am this just recharges and reaffirms that this. We've had the opportunity to come across working with other companies, and some we've turned down because we just feel like we want to be aligned with companies that, like you said, it goes all the way back to what you guys were saying of we want to help people. We want to get people back to the way that your brain is supposed to work, because it has improved my life. And I feel speaking to the audience, if this episode hasn't convinced you to at least download NuCalm and try, and I don't know what will, because it's
you
a daily.
And I have had a really I'll have a really rough day with Copper Johns and stuff like that. Customers upset, things not shipping out on time.
I'm use NuCalm, call me back.
No, dead serious. I'll be driving. He's like, use NuCalm before we get there, and I will. And I'm like, okay, yeah, life's good.
Yeah,
it really does work. And now I understand why.
And the video of us using it to and from the trips to LA, that wasn't just for the reel. It was really plug in, because he was stressing out, I was stressing out, I
was about to meet one of the guys that I absolutely just have idolized since I was a kid. Not a kid, but
Richard Simmons.
Yeah. No, Zach. I suffer from depression and anxiety. I have severe depression and stuff like that, and come to find out, when you have something, you like something that's familiar, that's nice, that's that. And Chuck was that for me.
Yeah.
And I watched Chuck all the time, and so I became a huge fan of his. And so to meet someone like that, it was really stressful for me. Yeah. And so it did work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you're having a tough day, get in rescue. Dave did it. We didn't have a tough day yesterday, but he wanted to refresh. We were driving back from Park City an hour. He just said, hey, I'm going to NuCalm. Rescue for 25 minutes. It takes all the itty bitty stuff, all the stuff that builds and just creates this load, and just says no. Yeah. We don't care.
Restores you to your authentic self.
There you go.
That control, that stability, that confidence.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. So you lack confidence when you're going to meet your hero. Like, oh my God. And it's not necessarily the amygdala, it's the anticipatory anxiety, which makes you behave weird.
Yeah.
And I think that's really probably the perfect thought to end on, is it brings you back to your authentic self, because that is probably one of the biggest things we push is authenticity. And that I feel more like myself than I ever have before. And it's like I'm getting to know this guy because of different healthy practices that we've implemented in our life. And one of them daily is NuCalm. No joke. We're not just saying that because you guys are sitting here. It has been a life changer. So to everybody who's listening, if you care about Tyson and I at all and the podcast and any weight behind anything we have to say, download NuCalm. It will not just change your life, it will completely rewire your brain to work the way it's supposed to.
And if they go to Instagram, don't they get 2 weeks free if they download it from our thing?
I believe so.
It's 7 days.
7 days. It's a 7-day free trial. Yep. So yeah, go to the link in our page, download NuCalm, give it a shot. I love that you guys call it the wonder non-drug. Like I love that, because it feels like one, but it's not. So thank you guys so much for being here. Next time you guys are in town, if ever, or we come to you, like this is going to have to be another episode, because I feel like we can just
amazing.
keep going.
And good luck to both of you. You're training hard. You're going to run a marathon, a half marathon. You're going to challenge your body, your mind, your spirit.
You're going to win it.
Yeah.
Yep. We're just looking across the finish line.
I'm calling the Kenyans right now saying Logan's taking you.
This little 5'10"
by June 6th, I want to lose 50 more pounds.
Yeah.
Seriously?
So I can go skydiving.
But
10 pounds a month, huh?
Wow. Yeah. We'll just shave down your forehead. There's 30 pounds there.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much. And we look forward to, we've got some really fun content ideas that I think is going to be fun for NuCalm.
We talked about it.
So
cool.
Well,
pleasure. Good luck to you both.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for listening, guys. And we'll catch you next week.